Now let's look at transforming results with string functions, right? Select first name, comma, length. Let's run this. You'll see that. And I want you to observe some things here, right? First name, and look at the name of the column. It is length of first name, right? Okay. There are some string functions which I'll go through. One of the function is called concat, very similar to the Excel concat function. It concatenates strings. Here I'm concatenating the first name and last name with a comma and space in between, right? And I'm also using the length function to understand the length of this concatenated string, right? Let's run this, right? So see this, first name, last name. I'm concatenating the last name first, Guinness, comma, space, Penelope, Wahlberg, Nick. And observe the column names here, right? The column name is just nothing but whatever I've mentioned as a function here. And make a note of this, right? And it looks very ugly also, right? Okay. Now the same query, what I'm doing is I'm just adding something called as the alias operator. What does alias operator do? Alias operator says, instead of displaying concat last name, comma, first name, I want to display it as full name. Instead of displaying this whole ugly formula, I want to display it as length of full name. This is the alias operator. Okay, it's called AS. Okay. Now let's run this. You will see it's very first name, last name, full name instead of this ugly formula and length of full name. Now alias operators are very, very important. Okay. It might seem as if, it's very sort of minuscule, doesn't serve any function, but this is very, some other string functions are lower and upper. What does lower do? Lower just converts everything into a lower case. Upper converts everything to uppercase, right? Now let's run this. You will see that Penelope first name is all in capital letters, but when I say lower first name, it gets converted to. Now here, what I'm doing is I'm using multiple functions inside one another, right? First I'm concatenating here, concat last name, first name. I'm concatenating and converting it into lower at the same time, right? Now let's see how it works. Run this. So I can use multiple functions at once. Now here, left and right, correct? So what does left and right mean? Left means it will take the first three characters on the left. It is very similar to what we saw in Excel. Right means it will take the first 5 characters on the right. Okay. So when I run this code, let's see what we get. You will see that left has picked up the first 3 characters on the left. Right has picked up the first 5 characters starting from the right. Okay. Now this 3 indicates, the number of characters. Okay. Another function is called substring. Substring is something like mid in Excel, right? So what the substring says? Substring has 3 arguments. First argument is the column name. Second argument is the the character in which you want to start it. 1 means indicates the index. 5 is the number of characters you want from that string, right? So if I do this, you see substring first name starting at 1, 5, which is PENEL. substring first name starting at 3, which is N, and then 5, which is NELOP, right? So that's a substring. In case substring, one more thing is, in case you don't put this third parameter and you just put two parameters, which is column name and then the starting, this one, right? Starting index. Let's see what we get. We will get the whole string after the index that you have mentioned. Okay, that is substring. Okay, now you have learned what upper is, lower is, substring is, right? Now this is what I was talking about. Write a query to capitalize only the first letter of the first name. So this is how I did it, right? So this is the main logic of the statement, right? The main logic is what? First, what I do is I substring the first name. Okay, so I break down this Penelope from the second index until the end. So what should be my formula? Should be substring first name comma 2 and convert this into the lower string, right? So ENELOPE is broken down to lower. Then I use the left formula to just take the first letter of every name, which is P in my case, and convert it into upper, and then I just concat these two. Okay, now when I run this, see this. What you see as camel case first name is actually a combination of this and this. I've just broken it down for you to understand. Let's look at trim. Trim, again, it's an Excel, very similar to Excel function. It just, trims extra spaces, extra white spaces. If there is something in the middle, like two spaces in the middle or two spaces in the beginning or a space in the beginning or end, it will trim. I mean, you don't have to run it, but you just have to know it, that there's something called trim. Here you won't come to know because it's a very clean data, right? But what is important is these two. Okay, so let's look at another table called film text, right? Let's run it. Okay, so this is, see, there is a table called film text which has 3 columns: film ID, title, description. Okay, if you look at the description, all these descriptions starts from a epic drama, a astounding, a fanciful, right? Now trim here can be used to trim certain repeating words. Like for example, I want to trim a and space from description. So how I would run it is trim leading a comma space from description. Okay, if I run this, you will see that a epic drama is now just epic drama of a feminist. Okay, all of you run this. So leading is used, trim along with leading is used when you want to trim something at the beginning of something repeating in the beginning of a column. Okay, in the same way, if a comma space was in the end of the column, you would then use trailing a, right? But here it doesn't make sense because I don't think anything ends with a space. Okay, if you want both, then you can use trim both a comma space. If there is something repeating at the beginning and the end, you can use both. Now there's nothing for the middle of the string, but you can use substring functions. Okay, cool. Locate is another important function. It will locate a string within a string. For example, here, select first name comma locate LOPE in the first name. If I run this, you will see that LOPE starts from the fifth character for Penelope, but Nick 0, Ed 0 because there's no LOPE, right?